Hello Internet, welcome to my first YouTube video. My name is Joe. I'm going to talk about my most anticipated game of 2024, Black Myth: Wukong as a Chinese. In this video, I'm going to share with you everything I know about this game and dive deep into its story and lore. We are going to have story analysis, symbolism analysis, and music analysis. Yes, you heard that right, music, because music plays a big part in this game. I will also share with you my understanding and the interpretation of Black Myth: Wukong, the significant impact of this game on Chinese society and the Chinese people just like me. And finally, I will share with you my thoughts on the alleged extortion and the internet drama involving Game Science, the developer, IGN, Sway Baby Inc., and The Guardian. By the end of this video, even if you never heard of Sun Wukong or Journey to the West, its source material, I believe you will have enough context and knowledge to enjoy and understand this game. I'm native Chinese, please excuse my English, and I didn't major in Chinese history or Chinese literature at uni. So if I made a mistake or I did not say things exactly right in this video, I do apologize. With that being said, let's get on with the video. At the end of July 2024, there are millions of YouTube videos talking about the gameplay of Black Myth: Wukong, so I'm going to keep this part short, only focusing on the things I believe you may have missed. This game is inspired by the classic Chinese fantasy novel Journey to the West, started as a passion project by a 20-man development team. The team is 200 strong now, and in 2024 this action RPG is considered to be technically cutting edge. It switched from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5, and it's going to be version 5.4 at launch. As a result, you have all the cool tech that comes with it, including non-eye geometry, next-gen realism, dynamic lighting, ray tracing, DLSS, unlimited scalability, and the list goes on. On top of all that, Game Science went above and beyond. They took super high-res on-location pictures of the actual route of Journey to the West for environment 3D modeling, and we can expect to have about 30% real environment in the game, including temples, monastery, towers, statues, tapestry, and murals. One thing to note here is the game was codenamed First of the Three during its development, so if the game did well, we are expecting to have a trilogy. So how about the game itself? Well, it's a combination of Devil May Cry and the Sekiro Shadow Die Twice. It plays like Devil May Cry. You have the fast character movement, transforming into a different, more powerful form on a timer. Lots of cutscenes and voice acting to tell a more straightforward story. If you watch all the cutscenes, you can understand 70% of what is going on, instead of 5% in Elden Ring. But the game is structured like Sekiro. You have only one main weapon, a staff instead of a sword this time, but you have many different ways of using it. You have the usual Souls-like elements including dodge, perfect dodge, parry, perfect parry, elemental buff, elemental weaknesses, status effects, rolling animation, and that sweet iframe. Your bonfire is now a shrine, where you can do fast travel and points allocation. Fashion Souls, or in this case, Fashion Monkey, Estes Flask is now a gourd. Universal difficulty setting, so yes, you cannot change it after the game starts. You are going to travel between key locations on the Journey to the West. During the story progression, different Chinese magical beasts are going to take you between different maps. From the trailers, we can see a white dragon, a giant moth, a turtle with a mountain on its back. Once you are 80% done with the story, you will eventually unlock cloud riding. One location is a giant interconnected map to serve one story element within one big map, thanks to DLSS in Unreal Engine 5 for the ability to load the whole map instantly. You can travel using the monkey's many transformations like a cicada or a bat. The map is populated by bonfires, main quests, side quests, story bosses for new abilities and equipment, and the hidden bosses for extra goodies. The difficulty is going to be between Devil May Cry 5 and Sekiro, so don't worry. Die during a boss fight, next try is just one loading screen away from restarting at the bonfire. Okay, finally, boring part over. Next. The game is inspired by the Chinese novel Journey to the West, published in the 16th century, It tells the story of a Buddhist monk, Tang Sanzang, who travels from China to India to search for Buddhist sutras. The Buddha assigns Tang Sanzang 3 talented but unruly disciples to help him navigate the journey. But the real story started 900 years before that. Yes, 900 years before the book Journey to the West, there was a monk Tang Xuanzang, motivated by seeking better translations of Buddhist scripture at the time. He left Chang'an in the year 629, traveling west to India. This is what his journey looks like on the map. The entire trip took him 17 years. He traveled back to Chang'an in 646 with the scripture and helped the emperor at the time to establish his kingdom. As a reward, Xuanzang established an institute, founded a Buddhist school, and a tower was built to store the scriptures and icons he had brought back from India, which now you can still visit in Xi'an. I'm now going to give you a TLDR version of the novel, only focusing on the parts I believe are going to be in the game, but I will leave Sun Wukong for the next part, because he's the most important character in the story. It deserves to have a segment of its own. In the novel, Tang Sanzang promised the emperor at the time to bring back original Buddhist scriptures for China. He started the journey alone, but he is helpless in defending himself, and all the monsters and demons on the journey are trying to have a piece of him, literally, because they could obtain immortality by consuming Tang Sanzang's flesh. So he needs to recruit powerful allies as disciples who aid and protect him on his journey. Otherwise, he's a walking piece of meat and won't last a day. First, he helped our monkey Sun Wukong, who's been trapped under a mountain for 500 years, to escape his imprisonment. To control Wukong's animalistic tendencies, a golden headband was given by Guanyin, the goddess of compassion, to place on Wukong's head, and he can never take it off before the journey was completed. And the goddess taught Sanzang the incantation of constriction. When Sanzang chants incantation, it will tighten and cause an unbearable headache for the monkey. I haven't experienced such pain, but I can only imagine what it is like to have your skull crushed. Even for an all-powerful immortal being like Wukong, it's exquisite. And now you too can experience such a pain by getting the deluxe edition of the game. But enough monkey talk for now. More on him later. After that, with Wukong's help, the monk recruited Pixie, once upon a time a powerful celestial general in heaven, who had an unhealthy obsession with food and women. After a failed essay attempt on the moon goddess, he's been cast out of heaven, and the Buddha transformed him into an ugly pig demon, impossible to be close to any woman because of his looks, as punishment for his lust and gluttony. But his entanglement with women didn't end just yet, because before the journey he was promised to marry a goddess who truly loved him. But he never married the goddess upon the journey's completion, leaving the goddess heartbroken. 2 more party members joined the group, White Dragon Horse and Sandy, similar to Wukong and Pixie. They were all demigods at one point, but wronged heaven in some way, shape or form. As punishment, they joined the group to pay for their past sins. So, the journey to the west is a pilgrimage for Sanzang, but a path to redemption for others. Now let's talk about the world of Black Myth Wukong and its residents. 妖怪. In this game, you will be fighting many demons and monsters. They are called 妖怪. They are magical beings who obtain the supernatural powers either by birth, by training, or otherwise receiving the power somehow. The most powerful Yaoguai were demigods or residents of heaven. They were banished to the mortal world and become Yaoguai because they violated the laws of heaven. Pixie, Sandy, and White Dragon Horse are in this category. Powerful Yaoguai can stay in human form, can walk, talk, and behave like a human without too much effort. Less powerful Yaoguai are half-human, half-animal monsters. They are bipedal, can speak short sentences, and use weapons, but they cannot take a human form. They are mostly evil, but what do they really want? They all want to become human, because they believe being human is the way of heaven, and after that, power and immortality. But they all have free will, so some of them choose to do good, including the snake spirit and the spider demon in the game, expecting to receive help from those two on your quest. And some of them are even capable of love, like the elderly spider demon. Again, more on her later. Heaven, God's way of heaven, destined one. Chinese gods and goddesses lived in a golden palace above the cloud, similar to the Greek pantheon, and just like Greek mythology, Chinese gods and goddesses have a system in place to rule over Earth. It goes like this. Step 1. Gods neglect and turn a blind eye to chaos and human suffering, accidentally setting loose demigods and celestial beasts to the human realm to speed up the process. Step 2. After enough suffering, humans will do two things. Establish a power hierarchy to protect themselves, and the ruling class will look for guidance and help from heaven. Step 3. The gods choose a champion of heaven, a destined one, and allow him to help humans in step 2, but in heaven's name, even coming down from heaven by themselves to help if necessary, but just enough for the humans to know they are the ones who have power and running the show.
Just gotta nudge them a little. Then you get to swoop in, be the one saving it.
Like Caesar.
Like Caesar.
This struggle and suffering of the destined one is called way of heaven. As a human, you can join this struggle and suffering as well, because the way of heaven is the only way leads to salvation, wealth, nirvana, immortality. Step 4. With the help of the destined one, evil was vanquished, and the balance was restored. Peace is now upon humans. To show their gratitude to the gods and their champion, temples of worship and statues were built. God's influence and control were established, and the human will worship them, remember them, love them, and sing their songs for generations to come. Step 5. After a few hundred years, humans are starting to forget the gods, the destined one, and the way of heaven. Temples and statues are being neglected and running down, and it's time to go back to step 1.
Who the hell are you?
And now the fun begins. If you watched all the trailers, you would notice there are 4 monkeys in the game so far. There is an old, human-like monkey at the beginning of the game, narrating the story. The protagonist monkey we play as, I'm going to call him Player Monkey from now on. And the Sun Wukong, the OG monkey, another unknown monkey, picking up the golden headband of constriction, falling from the sky. Not only that, Tang Sanzang Pixie, Sandy, and the white dragon horse are absent. You are just a lone monkey, retreading the journey to the west. But why? And how it all begins? So, what is going on here? What if I tell you, actually, there's only one monkey, from beginning to the end? Allow me to explain. Let's start with the OG monkey Sun Wukong. Unlike others, he is not a god or yaoguai, a monkey born from a stone nourished by the 5 elements, joins a group of wild monkeys and declares to be their king. He takes the throne and calls himself Handsome Monkey King, Meihou Wang. This happiness does not last. When one of his older monkey friends dies, the Monkey King was very upset. He decides to strike out from his island on a self-made raft, in search of an immortal to teach him how to beat death. After he reached the human world, he became a student of a magical Taoist martial artist named Puti Zushi. Under his teaching and guidance, he learned how to speak human, named himself Sun Wukong. Also, the art of Tao, 72 forms of transformation, combat, and the secrets of immortality. He promised Puti Zushi never to show his powers, but he couldn't help himself to help others and display his powers in the process. After this, Sun Wukong caught himself in a cycle of getting into trouble, being captured, being tortured, gaining new abilities while being tortured, growing more powerful, defeating his capture, and escaping, rinse and repeat, over and over. Before the beginning of Journey to the West, he didn't stop there. The monkey went to the underworld and crossed out his name in the ledger of life and death, which stated he was supposed to die at the ripe old age of 342. So he's not only immortal, he's now freed from his predetermined destiny. This part will be important to the story, and I will elaborate later. Here are some of his abilities and equipment you can find in the game. 如意金箍棒, his primary weapon, used to be stabilizer of the four seas. Golden banded staff can change its size by the will of the monkey. Sun Wukong usually shrinks it down to the size of a sewing needle and stores it in his ear. Full set of armor was gifted by the Dragon King of East China Sea. 火眼金睛, lit fiery eyes, golden pupils, truth-seeing eyes, allows him to see through magic and illusions. 吹毛成兵, bodies beyond body, duplication from his hair. 铜头铁臂, copper head, iron limbs. 定身咒, freeze body spell. 安身术, art of taking shelter. After he battled 100,000 celestial soldiers, Buddha finally had enough of him and managed to trick the monkey, leading to his 500 years imprisonment. There was another monkey in the story of Journey to the West. A 6-eared macaque first appears in Xiliang in disguise as Sun Wukong, knocks Tang Sanzang unconscious and steals the bag and paperwork. He fights with the real Sun Wukong and neither of them can overcome his opponent. No one is able to differentiate between the real and the fake Sun Wukong. Not only they look the same, their power level, skills and weapons are identical as well. He also responds to the incantation of constriction, preventing the pilgrims from differentiating between him and Sun Wukong until the two appear before the Buddha. The 6-eared macaque attempts to flee when he hears Buddha speak about his true identity, but the Buddha traps him under a giant golden alarm's ball. The macaque is then killed by Sun Wukong. The 6-eared macaque is thought to represent double-heartedness in Sun Wukong. I believe the reincarnated 6-eared macaque is our player monkey in the game, and here's my evidence. 1. The novel never explains the 6-eared macaque's origin story, but strongly implies he's born from Sun Wukong's unpurified heart. Or should I say, he is a physical manifestation of the human part of Wukong. 2. There is a 600-year-old conspiracy theory that during the battle of two monkeys, the real monkey died at the end. Since no one could tell them apart, they look the same and fight the same. 6-eared macaque could simply take his place after he died and goes on with the journey. And do you remember at the beginning of the game, the old monkey said,
真正的他早就死在了西行路上。
This proves the game at least is playing with this idea. In the novel, the 6-eared macaque uses a staff called 随心铁杆兵, the iron-banded staff of free will. In the first trailer, when the two staff collided, one golden-banded staff against the player monkey's iron-banded staff, some people think Sun Wukong in this trailer is also an imposter. But I disagree. First, he blocked player monkey's strike with ease. One thing, an imposter can never fake his power. The fact that Sun Wukong here is this powerful tells me he is the real deal. And then he immediately uses his fiery eyes golden pupils on the player monkey. This made me believe this is the first time they met, and Sun Wukong was trying to verify player monkey's real identity. Then something very interesting happens. We saw a montage of different locations and the player monkey screams in pain, possibly from the constricting hairband tightening, and the OG monkey fighting 100,000 celestial soldiers, and I think this is more than just an editing trick. Sun Wukong did say all that, because the player monkey is basically himself, and their minds are connected. That's the reason why by looking at player monkey's true form and soul, Sun Wukong can see his past as well. The theme of human desire, destiny, and the way of heaven came up again and again throughout the game, which I will talk more in the next segment. But in the novel, every time Sun Wukong acts with his animalistic tendencies, or should I say, acts like himself, he gets severely punished over and over again. It's dictated by the Buddhist principle that to walk the way of heaven, a pilgrim's heart needs to be pure, or one heart. Sun Wukong was of two hearts at the beginning of the journey. Part of him wanted to dedicate himself to the pilgrimage, walk the way of Tao, his old teaching from Puti Zushi, but all his desires needed to go away. And I think those oppressed desires led to the birth of 6-eared macaque, and after Sun Wukong's ascension to godhood, Sun Wukong was reborn as 斗战胜佛, victorious fighting Buddha. So too as the 6 years macaque now becomes the player monkey. In Taoist principle, for all the Western audiences, I don't blame you for thinking about balance, light and dark, good and evil. You possibly learned it from the Taoist symbol or Star Wars. But in the world of Journey to the West, it's more interesting and nuanced. A man can have two hearts. One is Dao Xin, the heart of Tao. Another is Ren Xin, the heart of man. In order to pursue the way of heaven and godhood, Sun Wukong needed to have his heart purified, follow the heart of Tao, and give birth to another self in the process. In the novel, after the death of the 6-year-old macaque, Sun Wukong starts to behave, and rarely being punished again.
The important thing isn't can you read music, it's can you hear it. Can you hear the music, Robert?
Yes, I can.
Yes, that's right, dear viewer. The important thing isn't can you play the game, but can you hear it? Can you hear the music? And I believe with my help, after this video, you can. And I'm not joking here. Just like Dark Souls pioneered to hide the story in the item description and the environment, Black Myth Wukong pioneered to hide the story in the music and arts. In this segment, let's take a look at some of them. For most Western audiences, I believe it's going to be tough to understand this game, because the amount of context you are required to know is insane. You basically need to be native Chinese, who can understand the old and modern Chinese language, read the novel, have the intimate knowledge of the three beliefs at the time which influenced the novel. Those are Confucianism, Taoism, especially Buddhism. Watch the TV adaptation, understand all the implications, interpretations, and the symbolism and the representations. Don't worry, that's what I'm here for. I know 90% of the game nowadays, even great ones, are just for surface level fun. They may have some great mechanics, great gameplay, great level design, okay music, a tacked on story, or adding up to an overall forgetful experience. Not this game though, I can prove it to you. The gameplay here is to serve its story. And the story, along with all the arts and music, is to serve a message. So, let's look at 3 pieces of music, ranging from the least important to the story, to the one that sings the essence of this game. Don't Rush and Tread Lightly by a Headless Demigod. 恨当初一念慈悲，事不如皆行邪位. I regret my act of compassion in the past. Now I'm lesser than a beast, and lesser than a demon. 且慢走，且慢走，再走怕你也无头. Don't rush, and tread lightly, otherwise you will lose your head as well. Well, head here can mean the end of a journey, so another interpretation is don't go any further. There's no turning back after that. 忘我风傻话，自逢一劫，除悲生死莫相离. If you don't listen to my crazy words, you will meet a tragedy of your own, and you will be separated by life and death. 不想走那正道宰人性，妖邪无人来度化，邪道却有人来走. I didn't want to follow the right way, the heart of man, because there is no salvation from man for the evil, and yet the way of evil is now treaded by man. 邪魔外道无人破，身不随手，身临坠. Evil cannot be defeated by man, so as head cannot be separated from the body. What can we learn from this song? Well, if you ask me right after the first time I heard it, I would tell you 0, nothing, because I cannot understand a word. This song has a very heavy northern dialect. I am from the south, I cannot understand the same. I had to look up the lyrics online. What? You want to know what it feels like?
Right. What did he say?
Okay, well, now you do. The first thing I believe you noticed is he's missing a head. So, why and how is he singing? Well, in Chinese mythology, if you are powerful enough, like a god or demigod, missing a vital organ or two won't be a problem. Ever since I played the God of War, I was hoping Kratos to visit ancient China and fight the Chinese God of War. It's going to be so epic, But after some research, my dream was shattered. Because we don't have a god of war. But we have 6 gods throughout the history worthy the title God of War. Sun Wukong is among the 6 candidates. And one of them, Xing Tian, looks like this. He's so powerful that missing a head never stopped him from becoming a god. So we have a demigod, due to an act of compassion, who lost his head. Now singing a song to warn the player monkey to be careful, at the same time demonizing the heart of man and rationalizing the weight of evil. Separation of the web by an unknown couple. This sad, beautiful song is the most terrifying piece of music I heard in a long time. Not because of its lyrics, but its context. Let me explain. Here we have 7 spider demon sisters preparing a wedding ceremony for the eldest sister. She is in the traditional red wedding dress and letting everyone know she has been waiting for this moment for a long time. And her soon-to-be married husband is from heaven, and she is so happy finally being reunited. The Chinese voice acting for the old lady is a 76-year-old actress Lin Meiyu. That's very impressive. Something to note here is, the youngest sister chose to stay in her original form, so I'm guessing since she is the youngest, she's not that powerful yet. And this cutscene is in first-person perspective, and you are the soon-to-be married husband, so we don't know what he looks like. Remember I mentioned in the novel, the pixie was promised to marry a goddess, but he never did. I think here the player monkey was disguised as a pixie to fulfill that wish. And the goddess came down from heaven just to find him, and she has been waiting for a few hundred years. For those of you who don't know, those spider demons in the form of beautiful women are succubus. They feed off male essence. They first lure male victims to their nest, wine and dine them, and allow the victims to have their way with them. In the bedroom, I mean. Not because they take pity on the victim, but because they can extract the most amount of male essence after the body experienced intense physical pleasure. And it's believed to be so good that's out of this world. It sure sounds like an experience of a lifetime, which it is. Because right after that, they will reveal their true form, kill you and then eat you. But once in a blue moon, one of them would fall in love with the victim and become his wife for life. This marriage would stop her evil ways of the past, and the spider demon will never look back. Remember what I said? Even Yaogua is capable of true love, but only when love is true and stays true. Maybe one day she will change her mind, and you are fooled again. That's why this song is terrifying to me. I'm not going to interpret the lyrics for you, because it's too long and may just sound like a generic lovey-dovey love song about a couple being separated for a really long time. And will they? Won't they, after all this time? But is this a song between a husband and wife? Or a predator and her prey? Can there be true love, even between a predator and a prey? The word web in Chinese also means love, because true love is just like a web. It traps all the participants inside. You can never get out without separating the web. Does it mean a sad ending for our spider grandma here? Guess we will find out. Way of Heaven. Now, the most important song. This is the song that sold this game for me. A lot to unpack here, so let's go. This song is written by the CEO of game science, Youka. He wrote Separation of the Web as well. This song has the least amount of words, but it contains the most amount of information. Not only it reveals who and what the player monkey is, what's the story of this game and its message, and a statement to let the world know why this game exists. There is a bad guy saying some very interesting things in the background, which accompanies the progression of the song. Let me try my best to mute his voice and focus on the lyrics here.
见未来，为何不败？
I nearly cried the first time I heard this song. It spoke to me, every word, directly to my heart. And I believe it's the same for every average Chinese person as well. I will explain in the next segment of this video. The bad guy is the most fascinating character in this game for me so far. His name is Yellow Brow, a former disciple of Buddha in heaven. He came down from heaven and disguised as Buddha to terrorize people. He is the first enemy in the novel powerful enough to give Wukong a hard time. And he used a golden symbol to trap Wukong. And here we see someone, possibly player monkey, being trapped inside this golden symbol again. If you pay attention and listen, you can actually hear someone explaining the symbol from the inside. 既见未来，为何不败? Now you are in the presence of future Buddha. How dare you be standing before me? The Buddha he's impersonating here is future Buddha. Revealing the game takes place a few hundred years after the journey to the West, because he was disguised as the present Buddha in the novel. Now the world has fallen once again into chaos. A new cycle begins. People are waiting and praying for a new champion of the heaven, a destined one, to save them from all the suffering. What is he saying here is in old Chinese language, and it's been translated into medieval English, which is hard to understand. I will try my best to interpret it here. If you don't kill, hatred will never end. If you don't steal, you will never taste free will. If you don't try to be lewd and evil, you will never know true love comes with debauchery. If you don't try over-delivering and over-promising in your speech, none of your dreams will come true. If you don't indulge in fine wine, your mind will never be truly at peace. If you don't indulge in pleasure, life will be over in a flash before you tasted any fun or glory. If you don't indulge in resting, your body will never truly escape from fatigue and pain. If you don't indulge in lust, you will never find the true meaning and the pleasure in your life. His words may sound like a bad guy justifying his wrongdoings, but I think you too can hear true passion and love from his delivery, which to a Chinese person's ear is incredibly liberating. I will tell you why that is after the plot speculation. Another thing worth noting is this guy, half human, half dragon, whom we will fight at some point. And he's nowhere to be found in the novel, so his identity is a mystery for now. But judging by what he was doing when he met Player Monkey, I can take an educated guess. So he was painting a mural depicting Wukong being tutored by Puti Zushi in a classroom full of students. In the novel, Wukong was teacher's favorite and making other students jealous in the process. So it's quite possible the half-human, half-dragon guy is one of the students in the classroom with Wukong. Now finally has a chance to fight our monkey, to let Wukong know his resentment from all those years ago. Because he knew the destined one, Player Monkey and Wukong are the same entity. Few more things I noticed from the trailers. Bear Yaoguai. This is what he looks like in human form. I noticed the same Buddhist attire. And this is what he looks like in the TV adaptation. Fire is his biggest fear. And the arena where you will fight him is surrounded by fire. And it might be what drove him insane and started the fight. 楚地. They are lower level gods in Chinese mythology. They are guardians of the land, but they don't have any comeback ability. We met two of them in the trailers, and they both had something very revealing about the story to say when interacting with the Player Monkey. The first one said, "You look just like a splitting image of him," meaning he knew Wukong from the past. And the second one, He was expecting player monkey's arrival as the destined one, meaning destined one saves the world from suffering is a prophecy, and the player monkey is the one to fulfill that prophecy. I don't think the English translation here is quite right. It should be, once you enter this circle of reincarnation, there will be no easy way out. Why the discrepancy? I don't know, but it reinforced the idea that the player monkey is a reincarnation, here to play his role in a never-ending circle of gods influencing and saving the world from the suffering they themselves created.
But there has been something bothering me lately. As the days pass, my emotions grow more distant. Fear, tension, joy, anger, I feel none of them anymore. In exchange for power, maybe I've lost something that's essential for being human.
Yes, that's right. There is a cost to becoming a Buddhist god. That's what happened to Saitama, and I believe the same thing happened to Wukong as well. Before we start, I want to ask you a question. What do you like about Sun Wukong? And why do you like Journey to the West? If you don't have an answer yet, then let me ask you this. Why do we like Goku from Dragon Ball and Luke Skywalker from Star Wars? If you take a closer look at those three heroes, especially their origin story, they are practically the same guy. Born from a mysterious, powerful force, a happy, carefree, but parents-absent childhood, suffered greatly from a terrible loss. Being mentored by a wise old man, being forced into the world of men. It's violent, ugly, full of deceit and temptation. But they all manage to always stay true to themselves and fight for what's right. And finally, they all find their purpose and fulfilled their destiny. They all fit the hero archetype. I loved the TV adaptation of The Journey to the West as a kid, and the novel is among my favorites. If you ask me why I like Journey to the West and Sun Wukong then, I would tell you it's every boy's power fantasy. It's exciting, dangerous, a journey, an adventure of self-discovery, finding love and friendship. I mean, who wouldn't want that? But that's a boy's answer, and I am a boy no more. If you ask me what's the essence of the novel, what makes Sun Wukong symbolic, I would answer you with just one word: defiance. Sun Wukong is a definition of defiance. He fights for what's right and never gives up on himself, and that's why he's fine with all the suffering, imprisonment and torture, and always emerges from his predicaments, growing stronger in the process. He's willing to sacrifice his humanity to complete his journey, the part that made him smile, be silly, and act on his instincts. I believe that's the origin of the player monkey in Black Myth Wukong. You are made from all Wukong's leftover parts from his ascension, all his desires, motivations, and flaws, once again being manifested into one being, the heart of man, being tasked to eradicate chaos in the god's name. Then people will once again start to worship gods. A new cycle of influence and control begins. It all began with gods losing influence and control in the mortal realm, and a champion of heaven was chosen to help mankind. Then destiny was designed in the form of a prophecy, which led to the birth of Wukong. He finally became a powerful enough entity to take on the journey designed by the gods. After his battle with the heaven and the 500 years imprisonment, Journey to the West began. Buddha used the headband to suppress his undesirable tendencies. Wukong couldn't bear the pain of the incantation anymore. All his undesirable tendencies gave birth to the 6-eared macaque. The two battled, and one of them died. The remaining monkey, as a heart of Tao, survived all 81 trials, completed the pilgrimage, ascended godhood, and a new circle begins. You, the player monkey, as the heart of man, champion of our desires, were reincarnated as the destined one, with the help of the OG monkey. Take on the familiar journey alone. Now, with all that background knowledge, let's get into possible series of the story. 1. Wukong's Descendants theory. Wukong finally decided to give up on his godhood and immortality, possibly losing his memory in the process, and I have to be wrong about the player monkey being the reincarnation of the 6-eared macaque. You play as a chosen monkey, a blank slate, and take on the journey to find key artifacts from the previous journey, help Wukong to regain his memory and humanity. That's why there are story and gameplay elements from Wukong's past before he started his journey to the west with Tan Sangzang. Finally, with our help, Wukong descends from the heaven, becomes immortal, grows old, but human this time. 2. Wukong's retirement theory. Wukong planned all this since the beginning of the journey to the west. He knew, as gods kickstart a new circle of control and influence, the 6-eared macaque would one day be reincarnated, being destined to take on the journey, since he is the only possible candidate. He helps the player monkey to complete the journey, maybe have a rematch, and then Wukong trades his place with the player monkey, finally earning his retirement as a mortal. The player monkey becomes the new victorious fighting Buddha until the next circle begins. 3. The Matrix theory. The craziest theory so far, because after the novel Journey to the West, there is another book, a supplement to the Journey to the West, written and published around year 1640. It serves as a continuation of the original story. In this novel, Wukong encountered a powerful fish Yaoguai. This Yaoguai is so powerful that he successfully constructed an entire reality to trap Wukong. Yes, basically like Scarlet Witch. And he did manage to trap Wukong in that reality. Compared to the real world, details of this reality were altered, and Wukong was forced to relive some of his worst moments from his past. Yes, basically Silent Hill. I think it's highly unlikely the game will take this route, but it's fun to think about. So which series do you like the most? If you have been paying attention so far, now you have enough context information, maybe you have a series of your own, please let me know. Honest, how many of you here thought I was going to talk about Chinese lack of soft power, since it's being ranked only number 5 in the world? And this game is set to change that. You will love this game, I will love this game, the Chinese gaming industry will be saved, and we will have a Chinese culture renaissance in our hands. Chinese games are now well on their way to become the best in the world. No, I don't care about that, you don't care about that, and this game doesn't care about that. Many of you don't think too much when playing a video game. I don't blame you. After all, 90% of the games on the market believe some nice visuals and solid gameplay are good enough. Games are for profit after all, and occasionally for the self-insert and the cultural invasion by altering history. But they are just products, not expression of arts and ideas. It's not required to have a soul. Black Myth Wukong is not such a game. Let me help you to understand what this game is for Chinese. First, you need to know, as of 2024, what is going on here in China. Allow me to summarize it for you. The truth is, we've never truly recovered from the year of the dumpster fire. 4 years on, the collapsing housing market, the second lowest birth rate in the world. It's estimated Chinese population will be halved by the year 2100. The youth unemployment rate is so high, nobody knows what it is now. We have entered a low desire society. Nobody wants things, nobody buys things, and the kindergartens now are old folks' homes. We now have 996, 007, lying flat, let it rot, Buddha-like. The song you heard at the beginning of this segment was dedicated to this phenomenon, and many of us have decided to give up on our earthly desires, just like in the Buddhist teachings. Here's a video from someone more talented than me explaining it for you.
Buddhism does not teach that Buddha was a god, nor did Buddha teach about any gods, but Buddha did teach about the ultimate red pill, which is that life is basically just suffering. At the root of suffering is desire. Those are the 4 noble truths. Number 1, life sucks. Number 2, life sucks because you want stuff. 3, if you stop wanting stuff, then your life won't suck. Number 4, there's a path you can take to not want stuff anymore. It's simple, really. The more you desire something, the more disappointed you're going to be when you don't get it. For example, the more you like a pretty girl, the more disappointed you're going to be when she rejects you, and she will. The more you love money, the more disappointed you're going to be when the economy crashes, and it will. You gotta stop being so attached to all these worldly pleasures, so you need to break that attachment by denying yourself, and then you can be spiritually free. Life is a cycle of pain, but if you eliminate your desire, you can free yourself from the entire cycle and achieve nirvana, which is true spiritual bliss.
Yes, that. But desires make us human, don't you think? I understand many desires are bad, make us do terrible things. But having desires is the only way to have passion and motivation. Now, more than anything, we need something to remind us Chinese what living feels like, what desire tastes like, because, after all, our desire is the way of heaven. Didn't I tell you I nearly cried the first time I heard the song? Now you know why. And I think now you can agree with me. The true meaning of Black Myth Wukong is much, much more than just a game. For us Chinese, by playing as a living embodiment of human desire, it's a reminder and a celebration of passion. Finally, we have reached the end of my video essay about the Black Myth Wukong. To summarize all my points, yes, this game carries a message, and the message is this: living in this world, everybody suffers. The world is unkind, uncaring, cold, dark, and ugly, but it's exactly what it's supposed to be, because only in a world like this can foster light, honesty, and beauty, and passion is the only thing that's capable of carrying us through all that suffering.
可我早就看穿了你们，满嘴的情怀大义，一心的世俗名利，唱什么命不由天，却不信自己才是天命之选。
It started with a hit piece published by IGN last year, accusing game science development team of being sexist and not featuring a female figure in the demo of the game. They listed some weak and poorly translated posts from the development team on Chinese social media, and after some backlash, it evolved to vandalizing game science office. After that, more hit pieces were written by The Guardian and others. So, what do I think? If you ask me, well, I don't have too much time for those people, to be honest. I've got better things to do. But what I'm going to say is this: I am an analyst in real life. Examining evidence and data and coming to a conclusion is my job, and I have the benefit of not having a language barrier here. So after reviewing the argument and the evidence, I have 2 conclusions here. 1, I guess it doesn't take too much to become a gaming journalist nowadays. All you need is a specific, backwards thinking mindset and a conclusion first, evidence later logic. A little exaggeration here, a little mistranslation there, and before you know it, bam! You are an editor and a journalist working at IGN. 2, to be fair, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, the language the development team used is very vulgar, which made me like and respect them even more, because, as I mentioned, the core message of the game is the celebration of human desires, and to express yourself however you want is everyone's desire. Plus, science suggests people who use profanity tend to be more honest, and can manage pain better. In terms of the vulgar language they used, due to the time constraints, let's just take a look at the worst offender they suggested, and let me try to explain the complexity of Chinese language. The same word can mean many different things. Not only that, a word within a sentence, especially within a question, doesn't have a specific meaning until the question is answered. The word 冲 is one of those words. It literally means having a go. So the sentence here translated to, this snake spirit is not quite what I've imagined, but if I cover the bottom half of the image with my hand, for me, it's still a go. 冲 here could mean many things. A. To buy this game. B. To self-pleasing by touching till completion. C. Rushing for the finish line. D. Dashing with vigor. My father is a scientist, a great one at that. He studied physics. So from a young age, I understand the concept of superposition in quantum mechanics. For those of you who don't know, superposition is an undecided state of something. Only when a feedback or measurement is given, the state of such a thing can be decided. So the listener/audience gives feedback or measurement based on his or her, or in this case, their understanding and interpretation of the word. That's when, and only when, the word 冲 has a specific meaning. In this sentence, the word 冲 was actually at a superposition, aka its meaning was undecided. The fact that they immediately went for option B reflects their state of mind and what kind of person they truly are. And that's why here in China, we usually play a game of who has a dirty mind. By using the word in our daily conversation, it's a playful way of teasing someone if they give an answer implying dirty things. Okay, I will give few examples of using it in a sentence. This is a OnePlus 12. It only has 3 years of OS support, but it's got a great battery life, an excellent screen, and a solid camera. So, for me, it's a go. So I did. With whom or with what, I'm not sure, but after all that, OSHA is probably going to have a go tonight. See? That's the reason why I don't suggest people to learn Chinese, because it's incredibly easy to misuse. It all depends on the context. You have to be mindful of whom you are speaking to, what you are talking about before and after the conversation, on top of millions of other things. So just stick with your native language. That's fine in today's day and age. But despite all that, I still chose to have a go with English. And after reading their article, I want to ask those two gaming journalists a question. And it's a very important one. What was the last time you had a go, a good go, or any go, for that matter? Judging by the vibe I'm getting from this article, I'm guessing it's been a while, huh? What? You wanted more? Okay, how about this? Journey to the West, Chapter 58, The Battle of Two Hearts. When two monkeys were fighting each other and nobody was winning or losing, they finally gave up and decided to go to the mountaintop to see the Buddha, letting him decide who's the imposter. On their way there, the narrator of the story says a poem. It goes like this, and I'm quoting directly from the book here. 人有二心生祸在，天涯海角只一猜。Evil and terrible things will arise if a person trying to fit two hearts into one. And such a person will be doubted and questioned till the end of the world and time. So, if you have a heart of DEI and you want to spread the message, that's your business, and I'm fine with that. But stop harassing people who have nothing to do with your business, especially artists. We cannot afford to lose more of them nowadays. I am a boring and law-abiding citizen. I only follow rules and regulations, so you really should communicate with whatever entity that has the power to make laws. Like your government, or I don't know, the World Health Organization maybe. But leave money out of it. Oh, you want $7 million? That's fine too. How about getting a real job? You want both? Fine. Get ready to be labeled, doubted, and questioned by the world till the end of times. It's funny to me, even by the moral standards of ancient Chinese from 500 years ago, those guys are considered to be losers and evil. There you have it, my very first attempt at making videos. Not too bad, eh? Thanks for watching and please give this video a like. That's all I ask. But before I go, please give me some future YouTube video ideas. Not necessarily about video games, it can be about anything. So any topic if you want me to do a video on, please let me know in the comment down below. See you in the next video. Till then, please take care. Class dismissed.